All right, we're back. Morse Code Podcast episode 109 rather. Dan Morse, Soapy Priya. Soapy, how are you? Good evening.
Yeah.
Beautiful evening. Yeah. Speaking of good evening, shout out friend of the program, Christian Arcan. I saw was tweeting about Al Caprillion last night.
So what was the connection there?
No idea. The only reason I just thought of it was good evening, killer catchphrase and opening line. And I
undefeated.
think undefeated to this day. Al Caprillion's opening line to the weather and Father Time in my book are the only two, no questions asked, undefeated, potentially all time. That guy's electric. Is he still on the news?
I don't think so. I heard that he works in a department store.
Well, okay. Okay.
Maybe still doing the weather. I don't know.
Yeah. How do you know Al Caprillion? Because I thought he was local when I was in middle school or high school.
That's how big he is. Is somehow once I moved here, people started talking about him.
He's statewide. Oh, okay. Gotcha. You didn't know about him until you came back?
No. When I came to Nashua, that was the first thing that they told me when I moved here.
It's part of when foreign citizens take their U.S. citizenship test. That's the Southern New Hampshire pass or fail. You need to get on board with Al Caprillion. If you want to know what the weather is like on it at any given time, around 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Yeah, it's also it's one of the main points of small talk. It's like, oh, you live in Nashville? Okay, you're halfway between Boston and Manchester. Also, Al Caprillion.
I'm not being sarcastic. I bet we could get him on the show. I don't know how we would frame it or pitch it, but I guess the way I'm trying to frame it is I don't know why he would want to, but I think we could get him on.
Well, and that's no disrespect to Al.
That's true. A real meteorologist to actually tell us about weather and meteors.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We have one, but I've been blackballed by official big meteorologists.
No. That must be tough when you see old meteorologists who have been out of the game since 2011, 2012 get a shot at primetime meteorology.
You talk about salt in the wounds.
Or actually, what I've seen lately is old washed up, I don't know, business analysts on the news getting a shot at meteorology in 2021 on particular networks.
I have seen such things, and trust me, it does hurt.
I'm sure it does. We haven't I don't want to talk about this too much, but we haven't mentioned the Tebow stuff since we've been last on. And I think we talked about this briefly in our group chat, one of our mini group chats, with the Bolio brothers. My whole thing was I don't expect Tim Tebow I honestly don't expect him to make the team. I definitely the way it's trending online is he's the starting tight end and is going to be a contributing player to the team. I don't see that at all. And I didn't even think that was a realm of possibility.
Yeah. I think Urban Meyer's just a crazy asshole and was like, well, I like you.
Yeah.
It is.
You seemed like a good guy. Right? You seemed like a good guy 15 years ago when I coached you in Florida. Want to play tight end. But the other thing I was thinking, their roster does blow. I couldn't name a Jaguars tight end or honestly a Jaguars skill position player if you put a gun to my head. I think they still have DJ Chark or whatever his name is, just because I know him from DraftKings lineups. I don't know.
Keep that metaphorical gun to your head for a second.
It's there. Okay. Safety's off.
All right. If you had to,
I like where this is going. Go ahead.
If you had to, do you hope that he succeeds and does make the team and he's good, or you hope that he fails?
I mean, I don't hope for either of those things. I think both.
All
of
right.
those
Well, that's not
suck.
how a gun to your head situation works, but okay.
Imagine if it was. I don't really want to choose either of those things. You got me again.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming.
I'll put this right back in my holster.
No, I guess my question is.
No, I know what you mean.
Like him or not?
No, I know what you mean. I don't like him.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear it.
Now, my opinion has changed a little bit. I mean, this is going back to one of our older conversations back in the day. Like, dude, like this was literally 10 years ago, like when he was in the NFL. Like, it's not sarcastic. I thought, I don't know. You probably remember better than I do my take on Tebow. Obviously, I didn't think he was a good NFL player.
Mm-hmm.
Were you excited about Tebow? What, like when he came to New England or just in general? Like, I respect Tim Tebow as a college football player.
Yeah.
But not all good college football players are good NFL players. I think Tebow is one of them.
No, I definitely wasn't excited. Like once he got to the Jets and the Patriots, it was like the lore was over. But when he was on the Broncos, I thought he was exciting to watch.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
It was an exciting story. I wouldn't say he was exciting to watch because slowest wind-up delivery I've ever seen. He's fucking oil can Boyd out there.
We're gonna lose a lot of followers with this one, but he reminds me of a certain quarterback play in near recent memory.
Oh yeah,
I'm not saying he's that bad, but I don't know. Watch the film. Mechanics, just in general. I think I mean obviously I think Cam Newton's season last year was better than Tim Tebow, but they're not too far off.
No, I'm not sure you'd be able to pick one out of a lineup.
Oh boy. No, I don't think so. One and the same. I just think it's kind of silly. It's just like, and here's the other thing. I don't know if it's better that he's getting a shot at a position other than quarterback, because I think it would be even more laughable if they brought him in as like a backup quarterback. I also, like I've said that, I mean, it's pretty vocal about this online. I just think it's a little, if I was like a veteran tight end or honestly just a veteran player in the NFL, I'd be a little offended. Like, you realize I work my ass off to keep this job so I can like support my family. And there's like a minimum, call it like a backup tight end in the NFL across the league. Like, I've worked my ass off my entire life to get this opportunity, keep this opportunity, you know, so I can A, support my family, B, whatever, continue my career and my goals. And then this guy just brought in, he did a workout, whatever that means. Like, I can't understand how close an off-season workout can be to actual gameplay at a position you've never played before. And then even the Jaguars locker room, like, no, I can't, you can call me a casual. I can't name the Jaguars tight end depth chart off the top of my head, but I'd be a little like, oh, okay. Like, certainly wasn't expecting this going into camp, but okay. I guess I'm competing with Tim Tebow for my job. 2020 has been a crazy year. I certainly didn't see this on the agenda for 2021 off season.
What if they were like, Tim, we have an idea. You passed mostly everything, but the final question is, when we say the phrase kneeling before a game, what comes to your mind?
It's gonna be a big
and as
moment.
we all know, Tim Tebow, he does the right kind of kneeling. Yeah.
On Sundays, ironically.
Yeah.
He's been taking a knee on Sundays for damn near 30 years at this point.
Him and Cap are pretty much the same people. Speaking of being able to pick two people out of a lineup, I wouldn't be able to tell those two apart.
No kidding. It's interesting. Again, it's like, and here, this is the same storyline with the Patriots. When he went to the Patriots, I didn't expect him to get through training camp. And I don't think he did. He definitely wasn't on the roster like mid-season. So I forget when he got cut. I remember him playing in the preseason. I don't think he was playing quarterback either, was he?
I thought that he was, but
this is going to sound like silly, but I thought he was. I remember him holding kicks, like holding like which is often a role for a backup quarterback.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure I vividly remember him like place holding.
I thought he was a fullback for some reason.
Yeah, something like I don't know, like a Swiss Army knife like type of position, like go out and do these random things, which is fine. Like if anything, maybe he could be like a special teams player in the NFL. But again, I don't want to get into too much of this narrative, but if Tim Tebow can play tight end on an NFL roster, Colin Kaepernick can be a second or third string quarterback on an NFL roster.
Oh yeah.
It just kind of is what it is. But
Tebow comes out and he's the guy that squirts the drinks like in between the helmet.
He'd be great at that. I'd like to see that completion percentage.
Actually, yeah, he'd be squirting holy water. So
probably, yeah, the blood of Christ and passing out fucking communion at halftime.
Again, on a Sunday, you couldn't pick you couldn't pick a better guy than him.
Some would argue that's why Tim Tebow got into football.
Mm-hmm.
Knock it out in the morning and then go play an NFL game. Or the other way to look at it is like college football is typically played on Saturdays. I will kill myself on the field on Saturday. I am PTO Sunday mornings, effective immediately. But anyway, I know we have our religious podcast on the Patreon. I don't want to take dollars out of our pocket by dipping too much into the free show. So
yeah, that was some content for that show.
Yeah, we'll put that on the back burner. We'll see. I did tag you something today. I don't know if you saw it. It was on Undisputed. This was hilarious. I thought I saw this at 5:30 in the morning. I was laughing my ass off. It was Skip and Shannon. And again, I don't really have time to watch these daytime debate shows. That's another thing. I don't know who watches these shows.
I don't know.
Who is this big population that's free Monday through Friday, 10 to noon? You ever think about that?
Well, I was thinking when was the peak that you and I were watching stuff like this? It's either college students or kids that are out of college and don't have a job yet.
Right.
So or basically 18 to 24, which is the target demographic. Is that what they really mean when they say those ages?
Probably. Yeah, probably. Or it's on at barber shops and restaurants and restaurants, not really. Or just
brunch and first take.
Yeah, no kidding. It's very strange. But anyway, they were Skip and Shannon were debating something, and I couldn't even listen to what they were saying because the background video, when they talk, they'll have a clip in the background or something.
Yep.
It was so funny. They kept showing this one play over again, and it was a play when he was on the Jets in what looked like a tight end type of formation, running a simple 5-yard out, a play that tight ends have made careers off of, Gronk, Vernon Davis, Shannon Sharp. They're all gonna guys who have or will walk into the Hall of Fame on this one play.
Devin Asiasi.
Of course, the all-time greats. And the ball it's a decent ball. I think it was Mark Sanchez. I don't know who's playing quarterback. Okay. So again, you can blame your weapons, you can blame your quarterback, whatever. Mark Sanchez throws to him. It didn't even go off his helmet. It hit him in the wrist, off his helmet, out of bounds. And it's just that play earned him a job, or that play is the best you could come up with to have a conversation about Tim Tebow. And maybe it is. It probably is. They wouldn't do any justice by showing quarterback highlights.
It was the look of surprise too. It was the way that when you're going for, not when you're going for a rebound, but when someone's shooting around you and the ball comes off the rim.
Yeah.
And you're oh my God, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah, very good comparison. I don't know. Anyway.
Wait, last thing about this. Do I misremember this, or did you look up in the group chat Tebow's quarterback stats from one season?
Yeah, I did.
What were they compared to Cam's?
I'll pull them right now. I'm going to be honest with you. Dan Bolio, block your ears. If you're Cam, if you're one of those old Cam stands, you might not want to hear this.
Block those MAGA ears, Dan Bolio. Yeah,
no kidding. I think it was God, this is such a weird group chat now that I scroll through it. It's random pictures of DB chugging O'Doul's. Dan Bolio posting random pictures that are on your newsfeed. Let's see. Something about Marvel sucks.
Yeah.
Keep scrolling. Oh, goodness gracious.
That was the hottest take he's given us in a while.
Yeah, right? I think Marvel's pretty I think I'd consider it a household name.
They're doing well. Yeah.
Bear with me 1 second. What was Tim Tebow's best year? I think it was
12.
Yeah. I assume the year the Broncos went to the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I should clarify 2012, not 12 AD, which was also a great year for him.
Great year for one of Tebow's boys. Let's see. Fuck it. I don't know how much I want to go into this.
Well, let's just put it this way.
Yeah,
Cam
I'll put it
finished
this
last
way.
year with how many touchdowns? Was it 8 or 9?
Yeah, 8.
All right. I'm pretty sure
I
the
think
stat with Tebow was double digits.
Correct. Yeah, I think it was 12 or 15. Probably 12 touchdown passes. And then my thought was, okay, Cam had COVID. He missed some games. Cam played 15 games last year. He missed 1 game.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most surprising thing I found. And I will.
Belichick
and again,
refused to bench him.
Honestly, I can't blame him after the Kansas City game.
Yeah.
So he missed the Kansas City game. And in that game, that might have been the worst quarterback play I've ever seen in my entire life between Hoyer and Stidham.
We should honestly do an episode about that game by itself.
I know. And I really, to be honest with you, I really don't want to go too much more. I know this is kind of off the cuff, but in like, you know, short version, like I said at the beginning of this show, like Cam Newton's numbers were very comparable, if not worse, than some of Tim Tebow's that year on Denver. And then here was the rebuttal in the group chat. Well, he had Demaryius Thomas. He had perennial Hall of Famer Eric Decker. He had, pretty sure that was it. And I get it. That was Demaryius Thomas was a good, probably the best receiver out of, you know, whoever Cam had and whoever Tebow had.
That I'll give.
Okay,
Decker, I'm not willing to count that.
Fuck that. I won't put Eric Decker over Jacoby Myers or that might be it. But you know,
Damiere Byrd.
Yeah, I guess. Even that one I'll give a toss up. But and we've said this before. It's like I will go back to the coaching on the Patriots last year. I will give the nod to like guys like Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick to scheme something out of that roster last year. And that actually reminds me, who was that year Tebow did his thing in the playoffs? That wasn't Josh McDaniels, obviously, right?
I don't think so.
I don't either. He was just 1 year at Denver and he stunk. Yeah, outside of that game where they beat the Patriots. That was one of the worst football games I've ever watched. That year when they beat the Patriots and they had those terrible uniforms, like the pinstripe, like jailhouse uniforms.
The only reason, not to get into this, but the only reason that people even
this is obviously at this point, this is the Tim Tebow episode.
The only reason people remember realistically Eric Decker is because of his years with Peyton Manning when they had those record-setting years on the Broncos for
the Broncos, yeah.
It's basically 1, maybe 2 seasons. And then after that, I think he cashed in with the Jets, and he really hasn't been much of a factor outside of. He's been more of a factor on reality television.
Yeah, because he has a hot wife.
Yeah,
right. And now he cashed in on the Jets. I think he ended with the Titans. I think he got one more deal with the Titans, or maybe it's in the other order. But yeah, I don't know. The NFL is a weird company where if you're an undersized white guy with any athletic ability, they just made a position for you, and it's called slot receiver. And you know, like some people have made a career off of that. Some would say it's the quarterback throwing to him, because now that I think about it, the common factor there is Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, who I know the mass, you know, the lamestream media is going to disagree with this, but I would argue decent quarterbacks.
Decent is where I'd top out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But I don't know. I don't even know where we started with this. Tebow is, we'll see. I mean, the one interesting tidbit, and I didn't bother to look up if this is legit or not. I think Bobby brought this up. He said there's some sort of bonus around getting to week 3, like a roster bonus or something.
Yeah, I did hear that too.
Here's the other thing. Did he actually sign a deal?
Oh,
because remember it came out. It was like the Jaguars are expected to sign Tim Tebow at some date. Isn't the NFL season open where you can just like there's no reason to wait to sign people?
That's true.
Weeks ago.
I thought that I did see a dollar amount, although maybe I'm.
Oh, maybe. Okay. The other thing it means is that, you know, I guess you can look at this 2 ways. He either voluntarily left baseball to pursue this football contract, or someone told him like, you're not going to make it any farther than where you're right now as a baseball player, which is fine. Like, it's not a knock on him. I've always said that too. It's like, you know, when we first started the show, it was around The Last Dance. And I'm pretty sure we both had the same agreement during the Michael Jordan baseball episodes. Like the narrative is like, yeah, like Michael Jordan left basketball and sucked at baseball, I guess. But it's like, it's all about perspective. Like, he wasn't great as a major league baseball player, I guess. But you still have to be decent at baseball to play any level of pro baseball, single A, double A, triple A. So like I saw like when Tim Tebow, where do you play? Binghamton, some New York team, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right. Something like that.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Well, like whenever he was in Portland, Sea Dogs, it was a sellout. Like, dude, when he was like throwing long toss in the outfield pregame, it was just like cameras flashing, myself included, like taking pictures of him, videos. Like it is a big deal. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, Tim Tebow, we'll see. Let's start the show. So I don't know, maybe we'll just edit this first half hour out. I think we should start here with Hall of Fame induction weekend coming up for 2020. And if you've been following us for a while, we've had Scott Rochelle on a few times. What's his role now? President?
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah,
president of the National Basketball Retired Players Association.
Yeah, so yeah, I love chatting with him. We should get him back soon. But we were talking last time, I think, about the upcoming Hall of Fame class, which is technically the 2020 class, right? Which is postponed to now. Might be the GOAT. Kobe, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett are the main ones. I haven't even really looked at who else. I assume there's like some coaches and like some executives and stuff too. But that's a pretty, again, lamestream media is probably going to cancel us, but I would say a pretty respectable trio of NBA basketball players. Of
people who have been inducted in the modern era, that's 11 championships between 3 guys. I would venture to guess that you couldn't say that about any other
that's a good point.
Induction. Like even when Jordan was inducted,
I feel like
it was him and David Robinson. Robinson had 2, Jordan had 6, but Robinson's, I mean, he was old as fuck by the time he got his 2. I think that was it.
Yeah, I agree with you. He might be my favorite player of all time, but if we're talking championships, there's definitely an outlier in that group, unfortunately. But no, I was thinking earlier, it's like, and I was looking on like Basketball Reference and stuff like that for those 3 guys. They're all just like off the charts, like all time. I get it, it's the NBA Hall of Fame. And this is why I get pissed off about like Hall of Fame debates, especially in baseball. Like I remember when we had Griff on recently talking about the Baseball Hall of Fame, it's just getting so watered down where it's like, it shouldn't be a conversation. I'll put it this way, like with baseball, I can't remember who was in the latest like Baseball Hall of Fame classes, but we'll just say like Mariano Rivera, for example. Like Mariano Rivera and Carl Crawford and like Scott Rowland shouldn't be in the same conversation as far as like being in the same class. Yeah. And I don't know who like the quote unquote worst player in the NBA Hall of Fame is, but I feel like the NBA does a pretty good job of like keeping it pretty buttoned up. Like if you're an NBA Hall of Famer, like you're an all-time, like there aren't, I guess, as many question marks about guys going into the Hall of Fame. I can't think of the last guy who was like, oh, like that one's a little iffy, even like on the ballots.
Yeah. And I do like it because it's, I think this has been mentioned on Mixtape before, but they do it where it's the Basketball Hall of Fame. You don't have to necessarily have played in the NBA as long as you're good.
Yeah, that's a good point.
As long as you're a Hall of Fame caliber on some level. I was thinking about this.
I actually didn't know that. So it's not the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame?
It is the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame, but that doesn't necessarily mean, it's just the Basketball Hall of Fame.
I didn't know that. Because like Canton, Ohio, that's the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I thought this is something that was a little unfair. Patriots haters are going to hate this. When people started bringing up the Julian Edelman debate, which whatever, whether you want him in or don't want him in, he was being compared to Robert Horry. I saw on Twitter, and I was like, I do not think that's fair to Julian Edelman whatsoever.
That's outrageous.
Because, yeah, Julian Edelman doesn't have the longevity that they want to compare him to with other wide receivers. But in terms of his regular season and playoff impact, he had a way bigger impact than Robert Horry. Granted, Robert Horry has hit some big shots, but still, he just won 7 titles because he was with 3 dynasties.
He was on a roster. Right. I agree. And there is some, I didn't see that, but that's interesting you bring it up. There is some, I will put some weight to like Big Shot Rob. But again, those are moments. And here's the other thing. Non-Patriots fans, I guess, could make the same argument for Julian Edelman, like the Falcons catch and the Seahawks touchdown, whatever. Julian Edelman, like playoff Julian Edelman, without doing too much research, I would argue is one of the better, if not all-time, like postseason wide receivers of his generation.
I think one of the statistics puts him at second all time, either catches or touchdowns, something like that in the postseason.
Totally believe that. Totally believe he is Mr. Reliable. And that's the thing about the Patriots. Like the Patriots call it, I guess, the Patriots' second dynasty. So Edelman, Amendola, and Gronk is your main weapons, and James White maybe for the most part. Like done deal. Like when it's like 3rd and 10, Julian Edelman is the target. Like Julian Edelman might as well be Julio Jones or Calvin Johnson. Like the ball. Okay,
that's the thing I was going to say is that like if you don't watch Patriots games, you wouldn't know. I mean, you should know because like he does get mentioned anytime during the highlights, but he's the one that moves the chains. It was either him or Gronk most of the time.
100%.
So 100%. Like he has to be up there in terms of my guess, in terms of converting like 3rd and long, and it would be a very specific stat, but like the guy who catches the most slant routes for first downs on 3rd and long or 3rd and short, whatever. So like his impact on the Patriots is so much bigger than a guy who just hit plenty of big shots, but Robert Horry was never counted on. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Like his biggest shot on the Lakers was literally, he was just there at the right place at the right time.
Couldn't be a better place. Couldn't be a better time.
Oh, and also he was involved in that great 2005 NBA Finals. He did have a big shot in that series.
Sure he did. Was Robert Horry a consistent starter on those teams?
So I think for most of his career, but when he got to the Spurs, I don't think he was a starter anymore. I could be wrong, but I don't think he was.
He started on the Lakers? Wait, did he win a ring with the Lakers?
Yeah.
All 3 of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, right time.
You know what? If he wasn't a starter with the Lakers, he was probably a 6th man.
Yeah, that's fine. And that's fine. It's pretty much the same thing. And that's the thing about these Hall of Fame debates. It's like, it's not taking away, like whoever you're comparing said person to, you automatically have to take away from the other person. That shouldn't be the case. Like I think the way Robert Horry's career is looked at is fine. Like no one thinks he's how many rings does he have? 7?
7. That's absurd.
That's fine. But it's not like people are putting him above Jordan.
Right.
Or LeBron or Isaiah Thomas or whoever. And they're certainly not like, oh, well, Bill Russell had fucking 11. Robert Horry only had 7. So I guess Bill Russell's better. That's true, but that's not the reason why. Like it's Robert Horry. Like if you played your cards right, you could, I don't think this has happened, but a veteran NBA player, by luck of the draw, could just ride the bench for 15 championships if the cards fell that way. And again, I'm not saying this to take away from Robert Horry. I think he's a good player, but yeah, I don't know. I think the Julian Edelman Hall of Fame debate was interesting for a second. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I never thought that would even be a debate when he retired as a Patriots fan who's probably watched every game his entire career.
What's funny is that it was never a debate.
Never.
Until the Rams Super Bowl number 6, because he won MVP of that game, right?
The Rams? No. He won. I don't think he's won a Super Bowl MVP, has he?
Who won it during that Super Bowl?
I would assume Tom. Let's see. Nah, because if he were to win a Super Bowl MVP, I think it would be Seattle. Most people would say Atlanta. Well, first of all, I think James White should have won Super Bowl MVP for the Atlanta Super Bowl.
Yep, agree.
I think we've talked about this before. I still think the Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl is the best Super Bowl out of those three.
Yeah.
Oh boy, the nickname. I'm on Pro Football Reference. You've heard the nickname Squirrel, right? I know I have.
Yeah.
Stinks, but I've heard it. Have you heard Minitron?
I have.
Oh, that one blows.
In small circles, yes.
Yeah, that one kind of stinks. Let me see. Nah, 3-time Super Bowl champ. That's it.
Okay.
He's never made a Pro Bowl. Understandably, he's not a Pro Bowl wide receiver.
No.
He is a solid weapon, but I also think this is the other thing we didn't really talk about. Like the Patriots system, you're outside maybe of Randy Moss, you're never going to have a guy in that offense who puts up the numbers they should. It's just too liberal of an offense. Like how many times in Patriots games, this was inevitable. Like in peak Patriots, probably Dynasty 2, like mid second quarter, it would be, wow, Brady has 8 completions to 8 different receivers. Like that was like the go-to stat every time.
Yep.
So it is what it is.
And 3 of those would be like the running backs. It'd be like Woodhead, fucking Shane Vereen.
Oh my God. And that's the weirdest part about the Patriots. Like anyone at any time could have the game of their life. The ones that stand out to me are Jonas Gray. And then he got fired. Yeah. Dude, what'd you say? Shane Vereen is a great one. Like an absolute nobody, but on any given Sunday, he could easily have 10 catches for 160 yards.
I just remembered he had a great Super Bowl against the Seahawks. Yep. I want to say that he had like 10 catches or something crazy like that for a running back. But the Edelman thing started with the Rams Super Bowl. I remember that's when it started to go a little viral.
He might have had a good Super Bowl, but
he led the team in catches. I want to say he had like 10 or 11 catches, and obviously they're all big in a 13-3 game. But that's when it started, and it's like, no one's fucking saying this. But now that people are saying that it's wrong, then you're obviously going to get the people who are going to argue that he should be. So it's like, well, what came first? The people who said he shouldn't be, or that he should be?
Also, my bad. It was Julian Edelman who won Super Bowl MVP in that Rams game.
I was going to say, not many options that game.
I was going to say, like, dude, there definitely wasn't like a no-brainer. Dude, honestly, if I had to guess, I probably would have guessed either Gronk or Sony Michel because they were the few people who had notable plays.
Yeah, I thought Gronk should have gotten it.
But they'll never give it to someone on defense. That's why it's like when in doubt, it's just they give it to the quarterback. That's why I said Brady. That's really strange. So I assume, did Brady win it for the Seahawks Super Bowl too?
Yep.
And he obviously won it. He won it for Atlanta, even though it should have been James White. Yeah,
wait a minute. No. Oh yeah, I was thinking, no, that wouldn't make sense. I just remember that Brady won the car and then gave it to Malcolm Butler for the Seahawks one. I was like,
that was obviously Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I don't think we've talked about this. Do you think will he, but do you think he should be in the Hall of Fame, Eli Manning?
That's like the other like cliche, whatever. Do I think he should be?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like my biggest thing with the Hall of Fame has always been like, if this guy gets in, like, where does that lower the bar?
Yeah.
Eli gets in, it's like, what are we doing? Like, I honest to God, like if Eli gets in, why doesn't Julian Edelman get in? Because it's all based on postseason success. Clearly.
And if Edelman gets in, why doesn't Tebow get in?
Nah, I wouldn't drop it that far yet.
Okay, so I guess Leahy's going to enjoy this one.
Hey, have you real quick?
Disagree.
Go ahead.
I think Eli should get in.
We're just not getting into the Hall of Fame weekend, are we?
I don't think so.
Go ahead.
I think Eli should get in. Nothing that no one hasn't said before, but beating the Patriots twice, granted the second year that team kind of sucked, but beating the 18-0 Patriots.
That's one game.
Yeah, but he had like a great postseason to lead up to that, I think.
Did he? Yeah, exactly. You don't remember anything from Eli, from the Giants postseason that year. I think they were a wild card team.
Makes it more impressive. I know that he beat the Packers in Lambeau that year to get to the Super
Bowl. What's his name? Who's the old Giants coach?
Coughlin.
Tom Coughlin remembers. He almost died over that game. Boy,
I don't know. I think Eli gets in, and I hate him as much.
How much more time does he have? Actually, no. It's not. He hasn't even been up for. Yeah,
dude. I think he'll be first ballot.
No, that would stink. It depends on the class.
Here's another reason.
Go ahead.
That I don't believe is valid, but people are going to say they're going to point to his consecutive game streak. Because remember, he got close to like 300 or something like that. No. I think he was the next biggest or longest streak after Brett Favre.
I don't remember that.
And Favre is not typically known for length, if you know what I mean.
I don't really remember that, but good for him. But at the same time, I don't remember the last time Eli Manning didn't start for the Giants outside of Daniel Jones. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to get into a Hall of Fame debate. All I'll say is this.
Remember the Daniel Jones play earlier this season?
Great play.
Where
ate shit at like the 20-yard line. Dude, was that this year or last year?
Yeah. Oh.
Was this year? Might have been last year.
I think you're right.
I will say,
NFL needs to come up with their own version of Shaqtin.
Great question. Like, who would do it?
Bart Scott.
Do you remember the old jacked up segment on NFL? God, that was so good. And I know we talk about this a lot. The pussification of America. Mm-hmm. That was such a good segment. Dude. Literally just zeroing in on nobody's getting absolutely blitzkrieged. like literally highlighting concussions.
Guys getting their heads tackled off their shoulders.
You got jacked up.
What did they then make the PC version of it afterwards?
Pretty sure the closest thing is you got mossed. It's like the thing they have now. I don't think they touch it anymore. I don't think they can.
So they don't, but there was a downgrade where they went from jacked up to being like, all right, that's a little much. I can't remember what the fuck it was.
You got form tackled. I don't know. You got touched up.
Did you see that Oklahoma drill by the kids this week?
Buddy,
that was something. You played football growing up, so maybe you can comment on it more. Your thoughts?
I actually looked at it more of I coached youth football for a while too. And here's the thing. So
describe the play first of all.
It was just like two kids. They're probably like fucking 10 years old. I'll say this. For youth football, fire uniforms. Like they looked like the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, I would have gone to one of their games.
Hell yeah. It was a classic. It wasn't even an Oklahoma drill. It was basically a drill where the ball carrier just has to run into the other kid. And I would say, to set the scene, I would say that the ball carrier was a little timid. The kid on defense was ready to kill. Lined him up, just the textbook helmet to helmet, like no other intention whatsoever. Cracked him. And then that was that. But the part, to go on a more serious, like the part that I think is troubling is the reaction. Like the coach's reaction, cheering on the kid who might have just concussed an 8-year-old. And then the Twitter video is posted with just the crying, laughing emojis. And it's like, who's the asshole who posted that? I would assume it wasn't a parent of the ball carrier. And B, it's like, again, like the video was clipped shortly after that. So who knows what happened afterwards, but nah, bro, like if you're coaching youth football, like you can't do that shit like that. That's not great.
They also got in the face of the kid who got tackled, and I heard them yelling something like, "Come on, get up, you'll be fine."
Nah,
Or they like laughingly being like, "Oh, you'll be okay, just get up, walk it off," or
nah,
something like
that's
that.
a big deal. Like if that happened in the NFL, whatever, it'd be a 50-yard penalty, I guess, and a suspension. but nah, bro, it's kids. Like, nah, that wasn't cool. And it's honestly like it's not even like it's not funny. Like the situation, I guess you can laugh at, I guess, like ironically, but what actually happened is not fun. Like that's not how you should be coaching. If you want any future for football, that's not how you coach football. Have you ever seen Friday Night Tykes? Friday Night Tykes.
I haven't seen that.
It's on. It used to be on Netflix. It's just fun. It's just hardos. It's like youth football, like 8 to 10-year-old football, like down south in like Texas and like Florida. And you would think these coaches are like in the NFL, and it's just so bad, dude. You would hate it. It's just like such hardos, just going after it. But yeah,
I have an idea.
Good.
I think at some point this summer, if we can do,
we should do an Oklahoma drill.
I was gonna say we should do an Oklahoma drill on the podcast. No video though.
Just sound. That'd make it even worse.
Who do you think tackles who harder?
I don't know. I don't want to get into this. We'll
no,
put on
come on.
Poll.
Gun back to your head.
Oh man, what a night.
Yeah.
I was stuck at gunpoint twice in 1 hour. I don't know. Honestly, it'd be hard for me to tackle you in the height difference.
What,
you might be elusive. It'd be like a Patrick Willis on like Darren Sproles type of like one-on-one.
Yeah, Tom Savage elusive. On Julian Edelman. Would you do it if you knew beforehand that I was going to be covered in something funny, like peanut butter?
I don't think that would play a factor.
Oh,
that'd probably make me more like hesitant. I'd be like, wow, I don't know. This is weird. Just helmets. Just helmets and jock straps. I don't know. I don't know where we started with this. I brought up Tebow randomly. It's been almost an hour. And then we got into the Julian Edelman thing. I'll say this. It's like that Seahawks Super Bowl. It's like, it doesn't matter who is on your, like all your prime time, like big time wide receivers. I don't want them over, at least in the Patriots offense. I wouldn't want them over Danny Amendola and like Julian Edelman. Like I don't want Odell Beckham. I was going to say Julio, but this is another thing about that Falcons Super Bowl. And I actually think Mixtape talked about this too. If it wasn't for such a ridiculous Julian Edelman catch and comeback, Julio Jones would have had one of the greatest catches in Super Bowl history.
Oh my God.
Like that one on the sideline.
Yep.
That would have been Julio Jones's Hall of Fame moment. Like this guy's the real deal. He just secured, he just saved this city from being the laughingstock of the NFL going forward. And he did his part.
The way that he caught that, his whole body did like a full windmill like revolution.
Yeah.
Like he caught it with his head upright, and by the time that he landed, his legs were like upright.
And it was great coverage. I forget who was covering him. I don't know if it was like Eric Rowe or fucking some schlub, and I think that was someone posted on Twitter somewhat recently. And it was like any other wide receiver in the league, like that ball hits a trainer and like out of bounds, like over his head. Like that was not a great throw. And here's the other thing: Seattle Seahawks. You could say the same thing about the Javon Curse catch. That would have gone down as one of the greatest catches in Super Bowl history, erased by one of the greatest interceptions in Super Bowl history.
That game
of inches, also, buddy.
Going back, yeah, we don't need to talk about that here.
Sure don't.
That game also, speaking of like, you know, those kids and that big hit in practice, the Cam Chancellor on Julian Edelman hit. When I remember Edelman got up and I think he said something like his helmet flew off or something like that. And I want to say he was audibly just confused as to where he was.
Yeah.
Like he came out of the game briefly, didn't he?
Probably.
I feel like he did. And the only reason that no one batted an eye when he went back in was because it was the Super Bowl. Otherwise, it would have been like, you just put a corpse back out onto the field.
Yeah. Now, I also think from that game, one of the greatest That's a good point. Like having NFL, like whoever made that decision to say we should make, what if we put microphones on NFL players and see how it goes, is one of the greatest decisions in the history of decision making. NFL mic'd up is fantastic, and that game was great. One of the best parts from that game, I don't know if you've seen this. I'm sure you have. I think it was from the Do Your Job documentary. That Seahawks season was the Do Your Job documentary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, incredible, like incredible timing to film that from the beginning to the end. Maybe it's a conspiracy theory. I don't know. But the Malcolm Butler interception before that, I think it was Brian Flores. Just that classic, like Matt Patricia obviously has no idea what the fuck he's doing. So people are all over the place. You just hear Brian Flores, Malcolm, go. And he runs out like with no prep and makes arguably maybe the greatest Super Bowl play of all time. Yeah, NFL mic'd up is big time cool. Remember, I think we talked about this before. Remember some of the Phillip Rivers, like NFL mic'd up? Dog nabbit.
Hey, full circle, another man of God.
Hall of Fame.
Another God-fearing man, I should say.
Yeah, big time. I don't know. We got about 5 minutes left. I would like to give some appreciation to the guys going. This is what I meant to say before we got.
Yeah, go ahead. So debate. NBA Hall of Fame.
No, I was just gonna say. I was thinking back, like let's call our generation 2000. And forward NBA. Like I know we both like NBA, 90s NBA. I'd say really watching the NBA probably 2000s and on. Of all the retired players who aren't currently playing, so yeah, non-active players, retired players, those might be the three best. Kobe, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
Maybe Shaq's there. Maybe, I don't even know who else. Like, and I do want to go through this quickly. So I texted you. I didn't look at this list, but I Googled from hoopshype.com. It's from 2018. So I guess this is, with all due respect, not including the 2019. Who's the 2019 Hall of Fame class?
I have no idea.
All right, of course you don't.
Maybe Brent Barry.
He was there. We have ranked the top 10 Hall of Fame classes of all time. But the reason I bring it up is like I remember one episode we dove a little deep into the Tim Duncan basketball reference, and it was like crazy. Like all the all pros, all defense. I did Kobe, and Kobe was right there too. He had just as many, if not more. Yep. And even then KG, I kind of like sarcastically hinted at KG as an outlier for championships. Yeah, but bro, KG, this is what I forgot about too. 07, 08, KG was depoy that year.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible stat for an incredibly fun team. So I don't know. Have you read this article? The 10 Hall of Fame classes?
I haven't.
All right. So number 10, I'm sure you would agree. This is probably my favorite Hall of Fame class. 1971. Bob Cousy, Bob Pettit, and Al Saperstein. I don't want to confuse that. Probably 3 of my 4 Mount Rushmores, all in one class. It's pretty ironic.
I'm surprised that they list Saperstein last, but yeah, that was a great class.
Me too. I might make note of this. If you had to guess right now, points per game, Paul Saperstein, plus or minus career, 14.5.
Okay.
I genuinely have no idea who this guy is. I just want to be fully transparent.
I would say plus, I would hope.
We'll see. Number 9, 1987. Pete Maravich, Walt Frazier, Rick Barry, Bobby Wainzer. Pete Maravich, I'm familiar with. Good player. Walt Frazier, I'm familiar with. Rick Barry, I'm familiar with. Decent class. Let's get a little. Here we go. 2006. This one's pretty fire. Charles Barkley, Joe Dumars, Dominique Wilkins, Gino Auriemma, great NBA player. And then a couple other people who are like executives.
God, I
Joe
can't
Dumars
stand
is
Gino
interesting.
Auriemma.
Really?
He just seems so smug.
Yeah, I guess. What do we got here? 93, Julius Erving, Bill Walton, Dick McGuire. Fire name alert.
The first two are pretty cool guys for completely opposite reasons.
Yeah, I'd agree. Ann Myers. I don't know who that is. Ann Myers. I'm hopefully I don't cancel myself, but I'm assuming it's a woman.
First name was Ann.
Ann. A-N-N.
Oh, gotcha.
Wow, this is about as sexist as it gets. On each of these, they have a little subparagraph for each person, except Ann Myers.
Come on.
I didn't write it. Ooh, 2016 is fun. This is the 6th greatest Hall of Fame class of all time. Shaquille O'Neal, Zelmo Beatty, Allen Iverson.
Yao
Ming. Yao Ming's in the Hall of Fame? Never would have guessed that. That must be your holistic like basketball Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. It's not American Pro Basketball Hall of Fame, Yao Ming. Oh, Yao Ming was a weird career. Ooh. Dude, this is fire class. Sorry, Yao Ming. Tom Izzo. That's weird how current coaches can just go in the Hall of Fame.
That
like, what's
weird.
like the cut? Like, what is like the jurisdiction?
It's probably because some coaches coach until they die.
Till
So
they're
they're
dead.
like, well, let's get you in here before you.
It's so strange.
Before it's all over.
Jerry Reinsdorf. Cheryl Swoops. Again, I'm assuming that's a woman. Interesting. This one looks fun. 2018. Wow. Fire class. Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, Grant Hill, Mo Cheeks, Ray Allen, Dino Raja, Charlie Scott, Rick Welts, Katie Smith, Tina Thompson. How's Tina Thompson named last in that group? That's
also, how did she only get in 2018? I feel like
she retired a while ago.
I thought, because I remember her being in the WNBA when it started in 96.
Yeah. I also probably haven't watched a minute of Tina Thompson play basketball, but I know Tina Thompson's an all-time great women's basketball player, isn't she?
Houston Comets great. Teamed up with Cynthia Cooper and Cheryl Swoops.
Don't get me started on super teams. 2010 is definitely my favorite so far. Number 4 all time, 2010. Minus one of these players. Scottie Pippen, Karl Malone, Dennis Johnson. This is great how they list it. So it's obviously always fuck Karl Malone, but Scottie Pippen, Karl Malone, Dennis Johnson, Gus Johnson, Jerry Buss, Bob Hurley, Cynthia Cooperdike. Fire. Name alert. Dennis Johnson and Gus Johnson is a pretty good Johnson and Johnson duo. Not to get into vaccine talk, but that's my Johnson and Johnson.
Can you hold your phone up to the screen? I don't want to make a joke that'll get me. It's not a joke. I have a question, but I don't even want to ask it without getting myself canceled.
Yeah, I don't know what you're going to ask. I don't know if you can see this. It's Cynthia Cooper -Dyke. I wasn't saying Cynthia Cooper, Dyke. I was saying Cynthia Cooperdike is her last name. Is that what you were alluding to?
I just had a question about Dennis Johnson, but sure.
Oh, go ahead. Let's talk DJ.
No, that answers my question.
All right. What do we got? Number 3, 2008. Good class. Patrick Ewing.
Ooh.
Wow. I haven't seen any rings on those fingers. Hakeem Olajuwon.
Oh.
Adrian Dantley. Adrian Dantley's a weird one. Adrian Dantley, from what I've seen from 30 for 30 documentaries, was like a sixth man, wasn't he, throughout his career?
I think you're right. Yeah.
I mean, if Adrian Dantley's in the Hall of Fame, Julian Edelman's in the Hall of Fame. Anyway, Bill Davidson, Pat Riley, Catchy Rush. Don't know who that is. And the one and only Dick Vitale. What did Dick Vitale do outside of announcing? Was he like a coach or a player?
He was a coach.
He's got to be in there
he
for
may have coached the
announcing, right?
Pistons.
He's in there for announcing, though.
Probably, yeah.
College basketball. Awesome, baby. Great class. 1980. So these are guys who retired in the 70s. Jerry Lucas. Jerry Lucas is listed first. I don't know who that is. Do you?
Not familiar.
They meant George Lucas. Just like an honor, like a lifetime achievement award. Like, yo, Empire. Yeah. Empire Strikes Back was so good. We want you in the NBA Hall of Fame. You deserve a bust.
It'd be good marketing for us if you could just join us.
Wow. Foreshadowing. Disney buys ESPN and then buys Star Wars. And NBA signed one of the largest TV contracts of all time with said ESPN.
Oh.
So maybe that's why they put Jerry Lucas in the Hall of Fame.
Interesting.
40 years ago. Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Les Harrison, Everett Shelton, and Dallas Shirley. That class
Everett
actually
Shelton?
sucks. I only know Jerry West.
Everett Shelton is
and
either
Oscar
two
Robertson.
first names or two last names.
Let's get Jerry Lucas. Won at every level he played at. Boy. Including high school, college, international, and even the NBA. Though, like Robertson and West, the NBA championship came late in his career. Washed up. I've heard enough. Number 1. Yeah, that's probably the one. 2009, Michael Jordan. Yeah, I'll give it. Yeah, Michael Jordan. David Robinson, John Stockton, Jerry Sloan, and then C. Vivian Stringer. Not like go to your notes and see Vivian Stringer. The letter C, Vivian Stringer. That's not the same Vivian we were talking about last time, is it? Lakers Vivian?
I don't know. We're asking the same questions.
No. A lot of question marks here. But no, I mean, respect. That's a dope class. I mean, I don't know. Out of all those classes we just named, I think this year's Big Three is as good as any of them.
Yeah.
Jordan and Robinson is legit. And who's the other one in there? Stockton? I don't know.
Who would you say is the next? Like if KG, Kobe, and Tim Duncan are the three marquee players from our generation, who would you put up against them as the maybe not 4 through 6, but the next 3 biggest players? I have 3 in mind, but I'm curious
who are currently retired.
Yeah, and played around the same time.
But they are currently retired.
Yeah.
And who aren't already in the Hall of Fame?
It doesn't matter if they are or aren't. Like if you think that they're going to be, then it doesn't matter.
Well, like I was going to say Shaq. Like, do you count Shaq since he's already in the Hall of Fame?
So that's one of mine. Yeah.
Okay. So I'd say Shaq. I don't know. Maybe Dirk.
Yep. That was actually my second one.
Wade.
So the first person that came to my head was T-Mac, but like, I don't know if he's, I never was a huge fan of his. Not that I disliked him, but
no, T-Mac's good.
The two guard is tough because it was really Kobe and everyone else. Vince Carter had some good years, but he did fade kind of fast and became just like a journeyman.
No, T-Mac's peak was all time. Like T-Mac had like Orlando to, I guess, a couple years in Houston. T-Mac was like, T-Mac's a Hall of Famer. He's already in the Hall of Fame.
He won a couple scoring titles.
He's already in the Hall of Fame.
Just never get out of the first round.
Is he in the Hall of Fame now?
I'm not sure if he isn't.
Actually, I thought he might have been 2019 class.
I feel like the Jump did a special on him when they announced it.
Well, that's actually a good question. I said Wade. You said T-Mac. Who do you think's the better career? He is in the Hall of Fame. He must have been last year. I just think, like, honestly, if you for the third time tonight held a gun to my head, I would say in a vacuum the better player is Tracy McGrady. But I just think we're so, like, championships just set too much of a precedence. and Wade has 3 championships. Like that's nothing to, including, and that doesn't even include the LeBron. Like he has one. I almost compare like Wade's 06 championship similar to Dirk's. Like he won that he had Shaq, I guess. So it's not as good as Dirk's, but the 06 championship, like that was Dwayne Wade just like running house on.
Yeah, he took over that series.
Everyone.
He averaged something like 35 that series, which even before the fucking blow up in offense, that's absurd. That's like Jordan numbers. Yeah. But yeah, I would probably say T-Mac definitely more talented, better player. Wade just happened to be more accomplished, but he had better teammates.
I mean, it's a good comparison. They play the same position too. And I think the other thing about someone like T-Mac, they were in a position to get numbers based on their situation.
Yeah.
Similar to Carmelo. Like they are the only, like those Magic teams stunk. And even some of those Rockets teams stunk. Like he had to average 30 a night, which he did. Someone like Wade outside, like once the Heatles era started, I still think that's probably my favorite Dwayne Wade. Like I really like Dwayne Wade in that era, taking that kind of, I guess, slightly back seat to maybe the greatest player of all time. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Shaq, Dirk, Wade, T-Mac. No, not going to say Dwight Howard. Actually, Dwight Howard's still in the NBA.
Yeah, no, I was about to say Carmelo, but
yeah, no, I mean, I think Carmelo's comfortably a Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah.
Wade's obviously a Hall of Famer.
LeBron, maybe.
LeBron, I think second year.
Yeah, people would have to think about it.
When's Dirk? Did Dirk and Wade retire the same year?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That's already a tough class. Like that's already 2 of the 3. Dirk's definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I do want to save this for another episode, but I know you put in the show notes the debate going around about 2001 Iverson versus 2018 LeBron as far as all-time playoff runs.
Oh boy.
Those are both great. They both, I mean, neither of them won, but and again, we would know this better than most people. Dirk's championship year, I do find myself putting more and more value into, like, the more I think about it. That team fucking stunk, that Mavericks team. And they faced probably the most biggest hype team at the time in recent memory in that first year Miami Heat team. So Dirk's up there. I don't know. It's a great class. Like, I know I'm sure you saw Jordan's introducing Kobe or giving his speech or whatever.
Yeah. At first I heard it was only Jordan, and then recently I saw that it's
gonna be 6 hours long.
Yeah, never mind.
Gonna be a line out the door.
The person receiving the induction has to say something. So yeah, that's where Vanessa comes in.
Good point.
But
okay.
Jordan is the one inducting him.
It's gonna be Kyle Kuzma's gonna want to say something. It's gonna be ridiculous.
And Nick Young is gonna be standing up in the aisles waiting for his turn to speak.
The only other question I had, I don't know if this is even still a thing, when people say hey, what team do you think this guy's going to go into the Hall of Fame as? Is that still a thing? Do they wear a hat or have a jersey or something? Because the only one that would be in question, obviously, is KG. But I really don't know. Do you think countrywide in general, people remember him as a T-Wolf over a Celtic, or vice versa, or a Net?
Or his second go with the T-Wolves.
That's what I mean. Well, yeah, same team, but yeah.
Yeah, I think T-Wolves, I think.
Really? Man. I think I think, again, similar to the what we were just talking about, I think in a vacuum, I think KG at his best as a best player was probably with the T-Wolves. Again, I just think championships change the narrative. And again, we're local to Boston, so I see him as a Celtic, but I think his Hall of Fame moment is the anything's possible speech, winning the trophy in 2008 with the Celtics.
Yeah.
And he won that depoy. But I don't know. But seriously, is that a thing? Like, do you go in as?
I don't think so. I feel like that's one of the other sports where they still ask that question. And
Yeah,
I can't picture which one because the bus is just gold.
It is. I thought it had something to do with a hat, but maybe I'm like confusing it with the NFL draft. But I don't know. I guess I'm with you. The fact that he went back to Minnesota probably, at least in his mind, solidified like I'm a Timberwolf.
Okay, well, same question. Who do you think people, or which team do you think people think of more with this player? Jordan on the Bulls or the Wizards?
I'm going to be honest. I can't get that
gun to your head again.
Yeah, this is a tough night. I can't get that 45 Barons jersey out of my head. I think he like does a crossover and like buttons him up on his way in. That's a fire jersey.
I was going to say the 45 Bulls jersey, but yeah, the 45 Barons jersey. I think 45 is a strong number when it's the right person. It's got to be the right person, though.
To go full circle, we talked about just undefeated. Father Time. What was the other one we said?
It was a saying. It was like a 2-word saying.
I don't give a shit. And then 45 is just a strong number to be associated with.
Yes.
You don't hear much about 46. I haven't heard anyone refer to him as 46.
Wow. Okay. Disrespectful to Aaron Baines, but
I don't know. Like when you hear 45, do you think Pedro or Trump?
That's tough now.
Sure.
Trump now, because people treat Trump the same way Skip Bayless treats Kawhi.
Let me turn this gun around, buddy. Gun at your head.
Okay.
You're 45 Mount Rushmore. You got Trump, Pedro, and Michael Jordan. And then that fourth spot, I think they're still chiseling out. Oh, God, don't say it. Leahy's calling in right now.
That's the only person I can think of.
Yeah.
If we're thinking of the same person.
Right now. Yep. Spider.
Good old Dono.
Oh, boy. I don't know. So, I mean, I do need to log off. I meant to cook dinner half an hour ago. So I swear this meant to be a respectable Hall of Fame discussion, which I think we still kind of did.
Yeah.
But I think it turned into the Julian Edelman
Tim Tebow show.
Potential Julian Edelman Hall of Fame induction speech in the last 60 minutes. But anyway, we're out of here. Got some exciting stuff next week. Looking forward to it. Thanks for tapping in. Make sure you follow us at Morse Code Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, at DJ Morse 126. Soapy, you're what? At Cambodian Prince
_ and follow and subscribe the YouTube channel.
Oh, YouTube channel, definitely.
Just as fun to watch us as it is to listen, I would think.
Wait till you do both.
Yeah.
Next level. All right. See you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.